Just a note, we were in the Veterans Day Parade the other day, and I thank everybody that helped pull that off. Bob Petrelli and I also presented a check to Care Packs for $500 on Veterans Day morning. From my understanding, they filled a 53-foot tractor trailer with food, and they've got about $18,000 in donations. So that was good. Later the next day, later that morning, we had the Mustang delivered, and that was in the parade for 2012. We also had John Casalt and Bobby drive the first car that we gave away, and we also had Jim Bristol's '68 Mustang with all banners thanking the veterans. So I thank everybody that allowed that to happen, especially to Tom and Tony, who were locked in place at 8 o'clock in the morning. The parade started at 10. And I rescued them in Quincy at about noontime, I think, wasn't it? So, but it was good. And a special thank you to Chris DeMambro, who pulled the trailer and also helped us an awful lot. Matthew Norton, Troop 9 Boy Scout, I think is in the audience tonight. Am I right? He's there? He had a project going that was dedicated on Veterans Day, and if he wants to come up here, I've got something for him. Did you get my email, Matt? We have a check for you for $500 to help you with your project. You gotta say a few words.
All right. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for the donation. My project is finally built after 3 months. From start to finish, it took 3 months. And thank God it's done. Now I get the fun part. I have to do some paperwork. And hopefully by February I'll be an Eagle Scout. So thank you, everybody.
That's down on Hollis Street. If anybody gets a chance to ride by, it shows very well. We took some pictures of it. It'll be in the wheel next week. That's what Sharon tells me. I send you the pictures yet, Sharon? Okay, I'll get those to you.
The program today is all about, it's entitled Honor Our Veterans and Honor All Who Served. And we will get into the program in just a minute, and I'm going to introduce Arthur Sharp in just a second. But I just want to, if everybody's noticed the table with nobody seated around it, that's the table honoring those who are not amongst us. POWs and MIAs and those who sacrificed their lives for our freedom. And with that, I'd like to get on with the base part of the program and introduce Arthur.
Good evening. My brief portion of the program this evening is to take a moment for all of us to pay homage to many of America's finest heroes, those who gave everything in defense of our freedom. It's difficult when we realize that nationally, more than 1.2 million men and women have perished as a result of military conflicts. An unofficial compilation shows that the citizens of Weymouth have been called to serve our nation in 10 wars. The first being the French and Indian War. 120 of our citizens were called up. Unfortunately, the records do not indicate how many we lost during that conflict. In the Revolutionary War, which came next, 323 were called up, 16 made the supreme sacrifice. Next was the War of 1812, some 218 called up. Again, there's no stats telling us how many we lost. The real tragedy, the Civil War, 790 called, 112. The war with Spain, 53 called. 1 perished. World War I, 662, 23 did not come home. World War II, 3,436 from Weymouth, 70 did not come home. The Korean War, 1,676, 11 didn't make it back. The Vietnam War, some 955, with 21 not coming home. And so far, if we put the Gulf, the Iraq, and the Afghans all together, through November of 2010, some 398 have been called up, and 2 have not answered the call to come home. Because of their sacrifices, we are able to live in a free society, infinite in its variety, sometimes turbulent, but all the more valuable for having been tested by adversity. These dedicated warriors have sacrificed everything to maintain our nation's independence, to maintain this great and noble experiment we call democracy. But this evening, the primary purpose for us here is to never forget those that have made this ultimate sacrifice. This evening, we mourn the loss of these fine men and women. We mourn the loss of these fellow family members and friends. We mourn the loss of those who have done so much to make this country so great. They are our heroes. Thank you.
Arthur's words, I'm sure, will echo in our minds for a long, long period of time here. And tonight we're going to honor all who served. A couple of years ago, our club embarked upon Rotary International's vision planning program. We had 30 members of our club spent many hours developing ideas and the subsequent plans that eventually turned into our strategic vision plan. Through this planning process, our club committed to development and implementation of a Veterans Outreach Program. Through all our efforts, we recognize that all veterans, regardless of when and where they served, or where they are serving today, should be recognized for their service to our country. The veteran population, young and older alike, also have needs that are most often overlooked. Identifying local veterans, discovering their most critical needs, and implementing a plan to serve those needs in the short and the long terms are the immediate goals that we set. We recognize that involvement with other community service groups and veterans organizations such as Disabled American Veterans, American Legion, VFW, and the Weymouth and State Department of Veteran Services will help us ensure that our veteran community will be well served. Tonight's program, which is honoring our very own Weymouth Rotary Club veterans and our veteran guests as well, along with our commitment that we recently made to the Honor Flight program, are first steps in the very beginning of Weymouth Rotary's Veteran Outreach Program.
Somebody that you might have seen on the clip about honor flights, and somebody that's not a stranger to our club, he's been here before, and he gave a program back on August 15th, was Joe Byron, who's the head of the Honor Flights New England. And we just went in and saw some of the veterans come back on a flight on October 16th. But Joe, we told you that we had some money for you, and I've got a check for $950 for you and your organization. And with it a lot of time. You want to say a couple words? Sure.
Thanks. Sure. Thank you. If I don't put this in my pocket, I'm going to forget it, so. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. George, thank you so much, and thank you to all of the members that contributed to helping us get our World War II members down there. I thought tonight that I'd talk about what I have learned from our World War II veterans and knowing that it's more than just a trip. In 2009, we started Honor Flight New England, and since then, we've had 19 flights. We've transported 551 veterans, 16 sets of brothers, 19 prisoners of war, 21 women, 3 husband and wife couples, a veteran that was blinded while serving, a double leg amputee, several veterans that served in 3 wars. Our youngest was 83. Our oldest veteran was 95 years old, a terminal cancer patient who had his voice box removed, was on a feeding tube, and the doctor gave him 3 months to live. Since we started this adventure, it has truly been a lesson about learning about our World War II veterans, and they can teach us so much. I have learned that they are very patriotic, They have a true love for this country, the American people, and the flag. I have learned that when they joined the service, many forged their birth certificates. They lied about their age or had their parents sign for them to enter the service. They were anxious to go because it was the right thing to do. I have learned that serving in combat together has created an unbreakable bond. I have learned that to them a handshake is as good as any written contract. I have learned that they served, came home, got married, had children, worked extremely hard, and still do, if their health will allow it. I have learned that many have not spoken about the war they have lived for more than 60 years, attempting to forget the horrific, unimaginable experiences that they lived so many years ago. I have also learned that many of them speak about it for the first time on our trip amongst their comrades. I have learned that they ran out of food, ammunition, and medical supplies. They were aboard planes that were shot down, ships that sank, and tanks that were attacked. They had less than adequate clothing and equipment for the conditions, and close combat was very real. They have suffered from serious wounds that they have had to deal with the consequences of all these years, and never would find it acceptable to complain. I have learned that they have smoked corn silk, pocket lint, they rolled Bible pages as cigarette rolling tubes, they've chewed roofing tar, and look forward to those unfiltered cigarettes that came in the ration packs. Some drank Pink Ladies, which is, as they describe it, a sterno-type alcohol where they cut two ends off the bread and then drain the alcohol through the bread and toast the bread. I have learned that no matter how old a gentleman you are, you still enjoy a pretty woman. I have learned that they are very honest, and they are going to tell you what's on their mind. And we have a joke on the bus, and we give out snacks all day, and we give out granola bars and stuff like that. And every trip, I joke about the 20% of extra fiber in their granola bars, so it could be quite an experience later on. And one of the veterans came up to me a short time after that, and he goes, I'll never forget, he goes, Joe. I go, yes. He goes, I got to tell you, it came out of me like a rocket.